starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The electricity here in Columbia, well, has been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the rave breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina!
It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherber.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losers.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard and welcome home inside the Gamecocks, the show, live from the Sinorama Studios and built by the Wando Co., the barndominiumco.com, where you can build that dream home for as low as we tell you every day, hopefully you're listening, $160 per square foot and up. Could be more than that. Don't quote us on 160 now. You're going to need to call Alicia and the team. TheBarndominiumco.com if you live in the Carolinas, in Georgia, or in Tennessee, and soon to be more. Sinorama is the preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics. If I move, if you're watching, see that right there? Welcome home. You see that? See that, Phil? Williams-Brice Stadium?
That's nice. Jamie. I like that.
Yeah. That'd be Sinorama, but my big fat head is in the middle of it here, so I apologize.
We know who did that. Tell us.
But my head is not large enough to cover that when you're in Columbia. If you walk by, I assure you, wherever I am, it won't intervene with your view of the great welcome home sign outside of Williams-Brice, which, by the way, you all get to see in just a couple of weeks. Next weekend, there will probably be some welcome home flags flying, but that'll be in Charlotte as the Gamecocks look to take over the Queen City once again, or as someone said earlier this week to me, be kings of the Queen City once again versus the Tar Heels. So we will get into that game today. Michael Flint will join us at noon, and we'll start to kind of wrap the preseason camp with him and begin to look at those storylines that stand out for that game. A full preview of the ball game coming next Friday, of course, with the original 1-9, the curly redheaded stepchild from Mount Pleasant, but probably the greatest Wando warrior that ever lived outside of myself. Our final storylines, I'm just kidding, dude. Our final storylines for preseason camp with Carolina football as well. This weekend's slate, we'll kind of run through that again. We've got some notable high school football games. This state is largely affiliated with the state of, this show largely affiliated and directed towards the state of South Carolina. So we'll make sure that we kind of get back into some of the high school stuff like we did last week. And we'll take your comments in the Nana's Porch chat box as well. One of the games, by the way, both JC and Mad Dog, you got a great thread going about you right now on the Big Spur. The whole Mad Dog thing has really hit home. It does appear if you were, and I don't know if Dean is listening or not, but if you were a single man, you'd have your pick of any woman or man in the Big Spur community at this point in time.
Oh my!
You've become quite the legend. Yeah, it's something. I think JC, some of these people
this morning. I totally missed this. Hold on.
Yeah, everybody wants T-shirts. So, JC, I'm thinking maybe tank tops with Mad Dog's face on it or something like that. What do you think?
Yes. No, not tanks. Sleeveless tees.
What about like tidy whities?
Yes.
What about a man thong? Could Mad Dog get the Mad Dog man thong? Could we promote
perfectly
that?
position this schnoz just so to properly accentuate your bits.
Yeah. Hope you can fill it out. That's gonna be the quote on the Mad Dog man thong. Hope you can fill it out.
Hope you can fill it. I love it.
Hope you're as large as I am. I don't know, something like that. But I know like Michelle Wilkins will play this show in Electric Bikes of Charleston. So if we just drove off any business, we'll make it up to you. Speaking of which, I'm 2.5 hours away from an all new rower. Can't wait. I'll be tweeting that photo out once it gets here. And I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so what I was gonna say, I had a JC moment there. One of the games we haven't talked about, and I will be watching this game, and I know that the big storyline last year is no longer a part of it. He's out west, but South Carolina State and Jackson State play at 7:30 tomorrow night on ABC, guys, in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. And so on behalf of Buddy Pugh in his final season as a head coach, go Bulldogs and go over there to Atlanta and get that win. How about that?
That game, when I was looking, I always look at the FBS schedule first. And of course, it's an FCS game. I think, and I have not confirmed this 100%. Somebody asked yesterday on JC and Morgan in the chat box, but I think Jason Brown, former Gamecock quarterback, is the starter for Jacksonville State.
Correct.
So this is Buddy Pugh's last year. So there's reason. I will tune into that before the Fighting Aggies of Las Cruces versus UMass or Vandy, Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
I think it's kind of sad. Everybody in the South's like, boy, can't wait for that Vandy, Hawaii game. Even Alabama fan, because it's SEC, it's only SEC team playing. By the way, shout out to Barton Simmons, who's their what they call the general manager of Vandy football. Mm-hmm. He basically tweeted that if you're a Vandy fan, and that's an audience of dozens, and you're complaining about the construction at your stadium, they're saying you lack grit and toughness. I was like, that's good. And Barton went to Yale, where Nick Gargiulo went. So he's a smart dude, and it was written in a Barton style, FU kind of manner. So I appreciated that. Barton's a great guy, one of the nicest human beings I've ever worked with. Very talented too, and they got the Vandy roster in the time he's been there. I think it's up. I think it's in a much better position than Derek Mason, I thought was an abject failure there. Besides beating Tennessee, left it. I thought I think they made some good. And if it hadn't been for the transfer portal and them losing their running back to Kentucky of all places, I think that the expectations would be even higher. But as a South Carolina person, as someone who's always thought the world of Buddy Pugh, I've known so many coaches that have worked for him, that love him, players, that institution in general at South Carolina State. It'd be great for them to go to the ATL and get a win for the old state of South Carolina. So that's where I'm going to be pulling. That's where most of my attention will be Saturday night. I'll pay attention to Vandy, Hawaii a little bit just for work reasons, but my heart will be in Atlanta with the Bulldogs.
And remember, Nashawn Goddard is the offensive line coach for South Carolina State as well. Last year, their offensive coordinator was none other than Bennett Swigert. But Bennett is now the head coach at I know
where he went. I just can't. I told you earlier I needed to do some high school research before we went on. I failed to do.
Oh no, Bennett! I'm letting him down here. How would I even forget that? Anyways, Bennett used to call the plays.
Yeah, they had a tough year last year. Bennett did, and it wasn't really on him. I don't think.
No.
I think with South Carolina,
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest
up here in the upstate.
Yeah, not too far from Mad Dog. Yep, in Simpsonville.
We're
the home of the great lefty Matt Campbell. Go get him, Soup. Wherever you're doing today with your uniforms, BSN.
Soup was
my man.
I talked to I had a business call with somebody when I was driving back up on Wednesday that's from Simpsonville that played with Soup.
Really?
Played baseball there. Home of the Rams, the big school up on 385 if you're going into Greenville.
It's my guy.
That's Hillcrest. So, but yeah, go Rams. That's a sort of an emerging high school program. Like when I had left the upstate, they were terrible. Then I come back and they had won a state championship. I was like, you mean to tell me? I'm like, you mean to tell me that Hillcrest and Southside Christian and Christ Church are now good at football? Southside Christian didn't even have a football team.
Right.
Of course, I went to the upstate to see Phil this past weekend. That is now crossed off the list as a place I think I can live because it's like Austin, Texas or Nashville, Tennessee now. Everybody's moved. The secret's out, folks. A drive that normally would have taken me 25 minutes, and I lived there my whole life, like most of my whole life until I was 21 or whatever. A drive that, and off and on since then, a drive that normally takes me 25 minutes. I know this place like the back of my hand. Took me an hour and 5. And you're talking about going from Taylor's to Welford up 29, Wade Hampton Boulevard. And there's nothing special going on. Nothing, I mean, it wasn't a holiday, awesome. Not a Christmas rush. It was a normal August Saturday morning. And I'm like, wow. So anyway, I may have to move a little bit out. I don't like all that. I don't like all that traffic. So I may have to move out. Of course, I think
welcome to the low country.
Well, I think
we feel our pain there.
The problem is, I think at gunpoint I'm gonna be forced to move to Charleston. So that's me and Jamie.
No, you're not. You're going to where do we decide you're going? Are you going to Edisto?
Edisto. Oh, I'll live there. Yeah.
You want to live on the beach? That's where you want to go.
Little shack out there or something. But anyway, yeah, me and Jamie will just carpool in Charleston or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The hell with that. We're going to get a couple of electric bikes. We can get 60 miles. So 60 miles to the gallon on this hog. Yeah, exactly.
I get 60 miles to the gallon. I got one rover for one more if you're going to Mount Pleasant. Okay.
That's what we're going to do. I'm going to call Michelle's listening. Michelle, I want you to listen really closely. Get us a 2-seater. JC and I will reenact Dumb and Dumber, and that'll be the next commercial for electric bikes of Charleston. Just go.
They have a model with a sidecar, though. That's what I want to see.
Just go, man. Swallowed a big June bug on the way in. Which you probably could if you're headed to Edisto. Let me answer this question real quick, by the way. My man, I have not seen Nathan Crocker in a chat box in a long time.
I know.
He was one of our great fans with JB and Goldwater. I really hope you big blue hose guy, PC dude. Nathan's a great guy and asking about my hat. This is a Charleston Crab House hat. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But if I turn a little bit, you will find that. Oops.
It's co-branded.
Look at that.
All hail to my man, Scott Larimore. The Crab House, by the way, has like literally the world's best Bloody Mary. And they pour it with Dixie pepper vodka. For those of you that haven't had that.
Pepper vodka.
Let's just remember that I said all of that. All right. Yeah.
By the way, Nathan did say that Nikita's showroom used to be over in Welford, and I can confirm it is still there. Now it's changed buildings a couple of times.
You can confirm.
All right, so
that should be that I can't confirm nor deny.
It wasn't open when I drove by there, but it hadn't gone out of business. I mean, where else are pregnant ladies going to make their money if are pregnant? Now, seriously, I went in there late one night, right? We were at a fundraiser in Spartanburg, going back to Greenville's ex-girlfriend, right? And, I kind of had a way of talking her into doing damn near anything. And I was like, let's go by Nikita's. So we went in there, and needless to say, the talent was like not that good. However, there was a very attractive girl that with a baby in her belly that seemed to be cleaning up as far as tips and all that go. And I expect that because people are decent human beings, and you're gonna throw her a couple of bucks, right? Because she's got a child on the way. But what got me was she did a lot of private dances.
No.
And she was going back and forth, wearing out a path to the private dance room. Those of you that have never been to a strip club have no idea what I'm talking about. And I don't go all the time, but
5 plus. 5 plus.
I hadn't been in about 5 years, but it was. I just sat. We just kind of sat there at the bar and people watched, and that was an interesting thing there. But yeah, that's right there in Welford. That's where I went to elementary school. Proud product of District 5 schools in Spartanburg County. That part of Spartanburg County has not grown all that much, but my brother Cam lives there, so that's where I was going. I was going to see my brother, and he lives kind of back in there. So we there. And Nathan says Clinton to Nikita's was not a long drive. It is now, Nathan.
Yeah, it'd take you forever now.
Oh, Ken says his daughter wore the Carolina Rise shirt to school yesterday. Thanks for the first day of classes at Carolina. Thank you, Ken.
Nice.
That's a very nice thing. Yeah, get the word out, folks. Put your magnets on your car, wear your T-shirts. All that helps, and all that good stuff. But anyway, Bruin Nation, who's awesome, by the way. Yes, pregnant women, as long as they ain't mine. 5 plus.
5 plus. 5 plus. Please.
Nikitas.
The app is rated for 5 plus.
Yes.
We are aired live in actual businesses all across the state of South Carolina.
Jeez. Okay. Well, hey, that's a business. If you're an entrepreneur,
well, that's true.
Reputable.
Yeah. We don't have we have zero radio or television guidelines to abide by outside of our own, and so we can do that. Hey, I want to make sure I get this in too as well, because he was just on the show a couple of weeks ago, and we're just so proud of Michael Haney. Today, his debut EP album has dropped, When the Leaving Gets Easy. So if you download music, type in Michael Haney, and please download that EP. It's 5 songs. Easy is on there, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, but it is it's really good. I've already listened to it this morning. He's done a wonderful job. Even if you just don't love, that type of music or something, that's fine. Everybody has its. I mean, if Michael was a heavy metal guy, I would probably not listen to him, but I'd still download it just to give him the support. So if you don't mind, make sure you download and share it with your friends for our dear friend Michael Haney, who's worked his rear end off over the last few years up in Nashville and trying to get his music career going, and he's done a fine job. And he's got a better voice than I give him credit for. I'm like, Mike, I don't know if I'd let you sing in my shower, but now I'd let him sing at my wedding. So that's fantastic, and really proud of him. All right, so
great guy, great, tremendous human being too. I mean, he's not. You tell about people that do things the right way. I mean, he's done it the right way.
Steady Eddie too, man. Just right here, right there. All right. So quick pick, by the way, on the South Carolina. Next week, we'll begin picking games on our program every Friday going into the weekend. And I'll tally all this at the end of the year when JC and Phil are looking way up the mountain and old JB here. I can publicly make fun of them. Quick pick, guys. Jackson State, South Carolina State. Who you got? Who you got, JC?
Going with the Bulldogs, man.
Yeah, man. You gotta go.
It's a homer pick. And see, I think Dion took every good player off that Jackson State roster when he went to Colorado, too.
Was this game I was about to ask you, was this game already scheduled before he took the Colorado job?
I would imagine it was.
Probably. I would too.
I would think.
ABC was like, son of a.
Yeah, it's a rematch. What championship game they played? 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Well, that was the no. Yeah. Well, that wasn't a championship game, was it? It was just the.
Well, it's the HBCU national championship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like
that's right. That's right.
It's like the BCS used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
The champs of the the Rose Bowl, actually. It's champs of the MEAC versus the champs of the SWAC.
All right.
Buddy's Bulldogs.
I'm going with Buddy. Go, Buddy.
Yeah.
Go, Buddy. State wins. SC State wins.
By the Gamecock retweeter, send me InsideTheGamecocks@gmail.com. InsideTheGamecocks@gmail.com. Send me your shirt size, and I do have a sweet, sweet visor that I wear on the show. I've got extras. I will shoot you one out since you were so kind to send me some of your gear and all that good stuff. So I'll be glad to do that.
How about the next 3 games, by the way, for the Bulldogs? They go to Charlotte. Oh, now, so they're playing in Charlotte next Saturday, too. Just at Charlotte, like the 49ers.
Oh, wow.
So you got the Bulldogs down the road playing against the 49ers of Charlotte, not San Francisco. And then you've got the Gamecocks playing the Tar Heels in Bank of America. This is all happening in the same town on the same day. That game's at 6 o'clock. The Gamecocks and Tar Heels are at 7:30. Then they leave there the following week. They're in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. And then after that, guess who's coming to this is big in the state of South Carolina. Guess who's headed to Orangeburg in week 4?
Furman?
The Citadel. With new head coach Maurice Drayton. Dogs are getting out of that triple option. They're going to be flinging it around a little bit. So there could be some fireworks in that ball game up there.
Cool.
So pretty cool stuff. So let's see here. They're going to be. Do they beat Charlotte, guys? Let's give them the Charlotte win. All right, and so they're 2-0.
I don't know, man.
No, they're going to win that game. They're going to win.
Biff, that Biff Poggi can coach his butt off. You know.
Yeah,
he's one righteous dude.
It's over. 2-0, and then they put the ACC in its place. They go to Tech. They beat the Jackets. They're 3-0. And then they've got a dogfight in their hands. It's going to be down to the wire. I'm gonna take the Citadel to shock them. So they're 3-1. They beat VU of Lynchburg. Everybody's gonna beat them. They're 4-1. Then they beat the Fighting Marcus Satterfields of Tennessee Tech. They're 5-1. Then they got to go take on the Stingers of Delaware State. They're 6-1. North Carolina Central, ESPNU. It looks like a Thursday night.
NC Central's tough.
They're good, yeah. So they'll drop that one. Then they beat Howard, Morgan State. They're going to finish the year 9-2. Go Dogs.
NC Central's where Lonnie Teasley came from.
Yeah, and that's where Otrey Smith wrapped up his playing career as well.
They got that level of HBCU level of football has so many good coaches that for whatever reason have trouble moving on to the next level. I think there's, because it's mostly all FCS anyway. I think there's a lot of lack of respect for that level of football in general. But I knew when Lonnie Teasley came and he took over for Adkins. I've heard a lot about him from recruits saying, this guy, we love him, and obviously his results as far as recruits go speak for themselves. However, then I started hearing about his X's and O's and ability to develop, and boy, what a blessing he is to this program. He came here, took a chance as an analyst. Yeah, Michelle, Will, inside the game.
It's being aired live in businesses. Okay, it's easy.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Be careful with the pregnant stripper talk. But Will, send me if I have your size. I don't have unlimited shirts, but if I have your size, I'll email it out to you. Or mail it out to you. So send it insidethegamehouse@gmail.com, and then tell us what Michelle says right here. This is funny.
Sign me up for a Mad Dog tank, but she's not sure she can convince her husband Dan to wear the Mad Dog thong.
I mean, this thread is epic.
Yeah,
I can't find.
I just bumped it to the front page for you, Phil.
Oh, great!
Should we? I tell you what. We'll hit let's hit a timeout. We got the high school. We got to get into some high school stuff and plenty of Carolina. We want to wrap our storylines from camp because it's over. But when we return, we'll lead off JC with why an all new segment called "Why the Big Old Cocks Love Mad Dog," right here, powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hey everybody, this is Mo Copper from Carolina Football. The show is painted garnet black every day by a couple of painters. Go to letmepaintsomething.com to check them out. Go Cox.
10% off for military repeat customers or mention the show. Interior, exterior painting, fencing, cabinet staining, concrete painting, popcorn ceiling removal, and more. 803-522-6832. Letmepaintsomething.com.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass, Sear Fossil, Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the Village at Creekside. all of her listings in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan. And many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Building your dream home is often just that, a dream, and sometimes a nightmare. But at the Wando Company, they commit to quality and build without sacrifice. Customization, open floor plans, limitless flooring options, maintenance-free and easy installation perks, and affordability are just a few reasons why they've been named one of the best builders in the U.S. Believe in your dreams. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com. The Wando Company, Gamecock owned, Gamecock operated. The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks! All right, Mad Dog. Have you even had a chance to read up on yourself yet, or no? You're muted.
Phil, you mute. He's so flabbergasted he muted himself.
Everybody's giving him all this credit, and he's falling asleep on the job here. We got to humble him, JC.
Am I on now?
Well, somebody just asked who you were. They didn't know who you were, which is fine. There's still people there's people that don't know who JC is. They don't know who I am. They don't know who Mike Morgan is. I don't know what dumpster those guys have been living under. But so this cat,
one created past 09 when Mike left.
Yeah,
I mean, like, that's a daggum Bruce Springsteen song. That's a lyric for a Bruce Springsteen song. Mike's been gone for 14 years. Mike's been gone for 14 years.
I talked to Mike
radio play by play. Hey, how about this? Mike's been gone for 14 years. We got Todd Ellis screaming in our ear. Oh, yeah. That's a Bruce Springsteen song.
Don't be banging up on Todd. I don't know how we're going to, Todd.
I'm not.
You and Todd are going to have to take y'all out to the parking lot.
Todd has no idea who I even am.
See, exactly. He's one of them.
Hey, I'll tell you what. He was my favorite freaking player when I first started following the Gamecocks. Favorite player on earth. I almost switched to number 9.
Hey, here's another one for you two geniuses. Not you, Mad Dog, but definitely JC here. We're going to have to adjust the app to 2 and up. Gamecock Pastor. My daughter's standing in front of the TV trying to talk to y'all. She's almost 2. Okay, so 2 and up. Watch what you're saying there, Mr. Nikita. All right, so Phil, we got a guy here. He's always good for a good joke. Love him. Love it.
There you go. Nice.
Another guy, Phil is the man. Another guy, I just want to drink a few beers with Phil. Another guy or gal, I love that his intro is Muschamp saying his wife wouldn't marry a loser.
Which, if y'all knew that's more accurate and fortuitous.
That's the most accurate thing on the show. I know her. She has no tolerance for losing.
Well, I thought that when I built that piece of production, I thought, I wonder if Phil's going to get upset about this. Well, let's just see what happens.
No. There may not have been a truer statement mentioned on this show.
It all worked out. Didn't we
right.
lock you in a dumpster? I got out. All right. Let's see here. Flashy says his name is Mad Dog. LOL. I'd like to think that Phil is the perfect description of what you want in a producer. He is evil kill. I'm thinking he meant even keel, but we'll go with evil kill. Soft spoken, and he keeps the show moving consistently and smoothly and knows his stuff when he speaks. Well, that's not true. I'm just kidding, Phil. I don't know what show this guy's been listening to.
No, man, this is good for my ego.
Kevin wants some Mad Dog Molinax merch. They said they'd like to have a bio of you on the Chief app. We all have our bios and the get to know you section.
But mine's there.
Well, it is. All it says is Phil is the man.
As well.
I mean, what more of a bio do you need?
Come
Phil
on,
is the man.
My wife commented on that too. She was like, "That's apt."
Yeah, I well, again,
thanks, baby, I appreciate that.
Another piece of building the app, and y'all know what I went through here for 6 months, and I was like, I don't have time to chase down bios of these guys, so I'm going to copy and paste mine from the website. JC and then Phil, you're just going to get the shortest, coolest bio in the history of bios. So you got it. You are now also hashtagged as the philosopher.
Oh, I'll take that.
The philosopher. I like that. Like he'll put a pipe in his mouth. Or hello.
Yeah.
I'm Mad Dog Molinax.
Mad Dog Molinax.
Mad Dog. He talks like Winston Churchill. Mad Dog Molinax.
Mad Dog.
We shall fight on an island.
All that needs to be said. Mad Dog Molinax. And then we got another one. Love Phil. So they you got a fan club, and now let me just, JC, you back me up on this. Now you're gonna know exactly what I mean here. Phil, doesn't matter that you have literally nothing to do with how anybody plays and with the outcome of any game. If they lose, you're a freaking loser. It doesn't matter what you've done. Somehow it has something to do with something you have done that happened. I
lived through it last year. Yeah, I know. I mean, you say something on there and you get it wrong. It's like, well, you said.
Well, if it wasn't for these guys, that wouldn't happen. I was
calling the damn plays, wasn't I? Yeah.
I'm blaming on us fans.
Yeah. Mad Dog Satterfield was calling those plays.
Right, yeah.
Hey, don't worry, Husker fans. I think I played this whole Satterfield thing the wrong way. I've been full of venom and spite. Simply because I think Carolina's an 8-win team in 2021 and 10-win team in 2022 if they had at least a competent OC. However, I digress. And they don't get shut out by Clemson either. But I digress. I should have played this like the minute he left, like so everybody would be kind of in on the joke, but you're not like, man, Nebraska, boy, you guys got a great one.
Yeah.
Put up 63 and 31. Boy, you guys are going to explode. Oh, my. And said it like that over and over. I think that'd have been funnier than me just being bitter. I let go of the bitterness.
Well, I mean, you could throw actual stats because nobody ever looks deep into them. Last year, Carolina did average 32.8 points per game. So you could throw that stat out there and they'll go, wait a second, they scored 33 a game. That's awesome. We would love to do that here at Nebraska. Nonetheless, the defense and the special teams put about 100 points on the board combined, and that's 63.
I think Carolina either led the country or at least SEC.
Yeah.
In non-offensive touchdowns. Now, they did score 9 offensive touchdowns. And then 13 offensive touchdowns in the last 2. But I think we all know there were some adjustments.
Well, but also like here, dress it up, Jay. Next time you talk to a Husker fan, which by the way, I am a huge fan of Nebraska.
Greatest fans ever.
Greatest fan base. Had the opportunity to spend a whole week with them down in Florida when the Gamecocks beat them in Orlando. An amazing group of fans. Oh my gosh. I mean, that should be every fan base in college athletics, man. They're awesome. But dress it up. Oh man, you gotta be kidding me. Listen to this.
Yeah.
We scored last year over 50 3 times. Three times they scored over 50. Now, they did score 63 against Tennessee, but over 50 was, I think, against Charlotte and SC State, right? So, but you don't need to tell them that. No, man, they scored over 39 times or 8 times, whatever it was. I think it was 8 and over 53. You nailed it. Y'all are you're gonna love it. You're gonna love everything about it. You're gonna roll through the Big Ten. You're never gonna look back, and you'll see Ohio State in the championship game.
It's coming.
Okay.
That's it. That reminds me of this. That reminds me of the Spurrier speech before the 2015 season. Quarterbacks can't hit the broadside of a barn. Receivers, they can't catch a cold. It's like it's out there in the middle of February.
Hey, I got some news here. I want to say congratulations to King Demarion Ford, defensive back, walk-on guy. Really good player though. Helps special teams and all that. He is the 3rd annual recipient of the Jake Panis walk-on scholarship. You guys know that story there. Mr. Panis actually just texted me this. He joins Peyton Mangrum from 2 years ago, I think, and then Peyton Mangrum from last year, and then Matthew Bailey from the year before. So hats off to King Ford. He's the man, and thank you for Mr. Panis, Stephen Panis, for keeping Jake's memory alive with this. And I have nothing but, and I've gotten to know him a little bit over the year since he started doing this, but I have nothing but respect and love for those folks, for Mr. Panis and his family and what he does for Carolina football and how he's taken a tragedy and turned it into something that's helpful to others. And I think that's very admirable. So just wanted to announce that real quick while we got the breaking news.
That is great stuff. You said that was directly from Stephen Panis, so that's
yeah. Oh yeah, I know him a little bit. We talked.
Really, really cool stuff. Yeah, that is fantastic. King Demarion Ford, and he's actually a guy that Shane has mentioned before, and how hard he goes out there and works for his Gamecocks. Congratulations! You heard it here first off the desk of Panis and Schubert. All right, guys. The high school football slate is setting up pretty nicely. I'll go ahead and Flint and I will pick this game coming up here at the noon hour, but I'll pick it now. Wando owes Lucy Beckham some major payback tonight, and they're going to give it to him. If you're in the Low Country, it's 7:30, by the way, on ABC. Scott Eisberg will be calling that game on TV. Elsewhere around the state of South Carolina, Greenville, 4th-ranked Greenville at TL Hanna this weekend. These are some standout games. Number 2, South Florence makes the trip to Mount Pleasant as well. They got Oceanside Collegiate Academy. Being from Mount Pleasant, you would think I'd pull for OCA, but I'm not. Go South Florence. 7th-ranked Spartanburg at Dutch Fork. Y'all realize both Spartanburg and Dutch Fork lost last week? They're both 0-1 going into that game.
Oh. Mm-hmm. The rumors of the ascension of the Spartan High Vikings have been greatly exaggerated. RIP to my dad, who was the biggest Spartanburg High School fan on the planet and was arrogant about it. It was worse than a North Carolina basketball fan, really. But I like Spartan High. It was kind of sad to me that they had a little dip there, but I guess they're not as dominant as maybe people thought. So how about the Burns Rebels won last week, though?
The Burns Rebels did. They're going to try to do it again this week. They're on the road at Chapman. As a matter of fact,
they'll beat Chapman's behind.
All right, go Burns, go there.
Chapman is in Inman, which is right up the road, and it's a smaller school. Now look, Chapman has like 3 or 4 walk-ons, 3 since DJ Black left on the roster at Carolina, and of course Deebo Samuel went there and all that. So Chapman's kind of come up a little bit, but that's not a game. That's a hey, let's bring our thousands of fans to Inman and throw some money in the local economy kind of deal and go away with an easy victory.
I feel you're going with a feel-good story here. So we'll bring our money and then we'll take your souls when we leave. A big game in the Midlands tonight. Brooklyn Casey makes the short trek out to airport right down the street, basically. Have a ton of respect for the Bearcats of Brooklyn Casey. Love that campus, love that football field, the whole 9 yards. But go Airport because my man Shane Fiddler is the head coach out there now, and he is a Gamecock through and through, former bouncer in 5 points who protected us but he's more than that. He's a friend, and he's a hell of a head coach, and I love him dearly. And Airport is in good hands with him. So go Airport. They win tonight against Brooklyn Casey. Ridgeview is at Sumter tonight, boys and girls. You got a big one kind of in the mid-eastern part of the state. How about this? You ready? Lugoff Elgin at Camden. You got the Fighting Patrick Davises versus the Fighting Monty Lees. Lugoff Elgin and Camden.
Oh.
Ooh. Watch out. Watch out. Somerville is at Carolina Forest. Rock Hill is at South Point. North Augusta is at Dorman. And Ridgeview is at Sumter tonight. Those are some of the notable games. I'm sure somebody's going to say, we didn't mention this one. Well, I understand that, but I can't read 119 games on the air. So those are the ones that stood out to me at least.
Oh, but Clint, do me a favor this evening when you're at the TR Wade Hampton game. Keep an eye on my daughter. She'll be out there.
Okay.
Freshman at Wade Hampton. This is her first high school football game.
Oh, that's a special moment.
Is it really?
Yeah, you don't really go to watch the game.
Yeah, we've been to high school football games, but yeah, first.
Oh, I did, JC. I know what you're saying though. The student section is always, jabbery, and they're all talking about the drama that happened in school and this and the other. That wasn't me, man. I was watching football because I wanted to be out there playing, but I couldn't with baseball. So
I would say this too. By the way, since we're talking high school football, shout out to the Lockport Porters here in Illinois. The Moose,
okay. That's right.
The Moose has his first JV game today. Starts at 4:30 in record-setting heat in Chicago. It was 110 yesterday up here, so I'm looking forward to being naked out there in my Speedo, my Lockport Porter's Speedo.
You mean your Mad Dog
Man Thong?
Mad Dog Man Thong?
The Mad Dog Man, that is brilliant. The Mad Dog Man Thong. But no, very proud of Moose. He's going to start at left guard. They run kind of one of those, it's like a spread with wing tee elements. So he pulls a lot. And the guy, he did the job. Moose is about 6'2.5", probably about a slender 215 with long arms. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like 250 that he beat out, but Mad Dog pulls. Moose. I all these M words. Moose pulls. He gets there twice as fast, and you need that in that offense, and he knocks people's butt off, whatever. And so I'm proud of him because he won that competition fair and square. He worked his butt off all summer. Looking forward to seeing the finished product tonight and praying that doesn't make me stay for the varsity. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't get into the schools around here. I just, when Moose plays, I'll be at every game, but they don't have a lot of college talents. I can't really scout. I don't really like the level of athletes they have. I don't really like the crowd. I'd like to be at Burns Chapman for sure, but Lockport versus Plainfield South or whatever the hell they're playing, that's just not for me. So I'm hopefully, but Nat though is like a huge fan. So
good.
So she's probably gonna make me stay. And keep in mind, there's no beer served at high school football games, at least not yet in this state. But I don't know.
Well, there's not down here.
I know. This state
should be turning away.
Not any serve.
Now, I'll say one thing up here. They do a lot of it. They actually have college style tailgates at high school games.
Yeah.
But
they have that down. It's South Carolina. They got plenty of that in South Carolina.
I'd never seen anybody drink a beer before a high school game in South Carolina, but I'm sure it happened. I just wasn't paying attention. But up here, it's like, we're grilling Polish sausage and some pork chops, and here's some old style, and let's go.
My man, Michael Flint. He's like the guy in Varsity Blues who's dumb enough to put the flower pot on his head. I never miss these. Yeah.
I bet in Texas they have huge tailgates for.
Oh yeah,
drinking Lone Star, cooking. There's people out there right now getting the brisket ready for Texas high school games.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's 6A high school stadiums that are bigger than Vanderbilt's.
Yeah. Clint said you can't have alcohol on campus. We know you're not allowed to.
I mean,
you used to not be able to have it in college either, but everybody did.
That may or may not have stopped me at times during high school.
Yeah, never stopped us. And by the way, I meant to mention this one too. Batesburg Leesville is at Gilbert tonight. Gilbert kicks their season off. They didn't play last week. BL did lose though in the opening ball game. I'm sure there's plenty of other ones out there. Last week we had guys, how many? I don't even know how many. Hundreds of responses with where people were from and who you pull for and this, that, and the other. And we love that. So good luck to all of you and your high school programs playing wherever they're playing tonight. Tyler says, "Go Panthers." That's right.
Oh, Chapman. Yeah. All right. So I'm not going to put a wager on it. I mean, if Michigan fans don't put wagers on games with Rutgers.
I don't think I'd be betting on high school football either, JC. That signals a major problem in your life.
I mean, look, I'm sitting here talking about griping that there's
degenerate without.
I'm griping about no beer. I'm griping about I'm talking about I'm not going to bet this game. You know, I'm like I'm talking about the strip club. I've had a degenerate Friday.
Could you just imagine who sets the lines for a high school game around here? Is there some guy sitting on the back of a damn barbecue, back porch, big guy in a pair of overalls?
Right. Well, who you taking? He's got it up on a chalkboard, I know.
9.
Blake talked about Texas. He says Texas high school was Will Williams Bryce level. Type of
they're huge
deal there, and I could imagine that's the case. And I think betting on high school games probably does take place in the great state of Texas, and it is a guy named Bubba with overalls on. It's in the back of his auto shop, right?
Right. It's just a setup like that,
By the way, shout out to Lee's Tire and Automotive in Florence for coming in as a Carolina Route sponsor, but
rock on
back in his auto
Love
shop,
a good tire shop, man.
Like back in the back, he's got the schedule poster of his favorite team up from 5 years ago.
Right,
he's sitting there, and he's got the desk is a mess, but he's got a chalkboard, and he's he doesn't want to get busted by the Texas Rangers, which it's not the baseball team; it's an actual law enforcement in Texas, like SLED in South Carolina. So he's got code like Odessa Pyramid is OP plus.
Odessa Pyramid. Odessa.
So the P throws them off. Longview.
Booby Miles.
Booby Miles.
Running back. Booby Miles.
Longview's like LTX.
Hey,
and then,
Mad Dog, who would you take? Would you take Wendell from Varsity Blues or Booby from Friday Night Lights? Who's your running back?
Oh, yeah. You got to go Booby there, I think.
I like Wendell, man. Hard nose.
Pretty good, man. Yeah.
He's a Tory boy type
I like
guy.
That was a good thought experiment.
I actually, who Wendell reminds me? He reminds me of Brandon Bennett. Downhill, hit the hole. If you're in the way, I'm gonna run right through you. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going with my guy Wendell. I don't know what his last name is, but his name's Wendell. Hey, let's see here. Who was it? Clint asked who's losing to Abbeville tonight. Abbeville makes the trip to Powdersville. And David asked, who does Lexington play? Lexington hosts South Aiken tonight. So the Thoroughbreds and the Wildcats in Lexington, South Carolina.
Thoroughbreds.
I think that's what they are, right? South Aiken Thoroughbreds, isn't that right? Am I wrong? Somewhere. To JC's point a minute ago, anytime you can't find them anymore. Auto body shops have gone so downhill, and it's not all their fault. You can't get good people to work, and all these vehicles these days have these high-tech computers in there. You got to go back to the dealership, which is nuts. So if you find a good tire shop that you can trust, they got my business, man. Somebody who's honest, who says, we'll get you in, we'll get you out. What'd you say the name of that group was, JC?
Lee's Tire and Automotive.
All right. Hats off to Lee and his team, because that sounds to me like a good local business who
big Gamecock.
I get it. My uncle just retired from owning Urban's Auto Repair for over 50 years in Mount Pleasant, and was in there every day. That was his life, every day, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I get it. Hats off to Lee.
Yeah, Lee actually also told me he sponsors a lot of the local youth league teams in Florence and things like that. So people like that get behind just sports in general. I think are great folks. And so he's been a member of the Big Spur for a long time. See, Big Spur people, I do not know your real name. I don't sit there and cross-reference it. So if I don't, if you're a long-time poster and you've posted on there for a while and you maybe meet me at the tailgate and you expect me to know who you are, please forgive me. Because I don't know real names. Most of the time I don't want to because you're not really supposed to sit there if somebody's like Gamecock 6901 and sit there and talk to him and be like, well, hey Dan. You don't sit there and call it by their real name because it's supposed to be anonymous. But yeah, I don't know who he is on Big Spur or whatever, but he just hit me up right before I left Columbia and is really, and look, Carolina Rise is great. I love it when we come in. We got a long way to go. Park Avenue is doing a great job, by the way. They're going to be on with us next week at some point, probably Tuesday. They had a deal with a tennis player they announced yesterday that's big, but there's about 11 more deals coming out for football, basketball that you guys will be really interested in. But so it's great for him to help. But then the fact that he helps his local, that's something like I'd do. I'd help like the Lockport junior porters or whatever. I enjoy that because sports are important for kids these days. I mean, they have enough distractions to where if they don't play sports and don't get outside, sometimes they don't get outside at all.
20% of profits purchased of Mad Dog thongs will go to some of these local leagues. Hey, it's 11:52. We got to hit our final time out of the hour. When we return, question here from Michael that we'll answer, and then Michael Flint joining us at the top of the noon hour. Gamecock football, here we come. We'll be right back.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia and go Gamecocks.
Charleston Fitness Equipment is keeping South Carolina in shape. Clients have come from all over the Palmetto State to find that one piece of equipment that they enjoy that keeps them looking and feeling good. Whether it's a home rower, treadmill, elliptical, free weights, a home gym, or something else, Charleston Fitness Equipment keeps the mirror smiling back at you. Get in shape like the Gamecocks do. Visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com. Gamecock owned and operated and proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
If you're in the real estate market in the Low Country or even in the Midlands, please contact me, JB, with Coast to Coast Realty SC. You hear me and see me every day here on Inside the Gamecocks, and it would be an honor to earn your business. I've been around real estate my entire life, as it's somewhat of a family business. I work with an elite team of experts from loans to insurance to closing, and they make my clients and my life very easy. It really is elite. Coast to Coast Realty SC.com is where you can find our staff, and you can always reach out to me here as well. Go Gamecocks.
Coach O here, and when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight out the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's Porch. It's award-winning. It'll melt in your mouth. It's good on a cracker. It's good in a bowl. It's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer, go Tiger.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Special thanks to the university for putting $23 tickets on sale for the home opener.
Is that what they are?
Phil, are you gonna come
Thanks
by?
for
You gonna come by bring the kids and wife by the condos? Because that's where
Why not?
Me and Jamie will probably be at certain. I'm not gonna give out the location.
No, don't do that.
No. We're planning on heading down and doing the whole 9, man.
We'll get mobbed. Our fans.
Right.
Hey, to answer,
At least introduce yourselves if you're doing that.
There's a question from Michael in the chat box. Says, will Spencer break Dylan Thompson's record? I'm not going to go on the record and say definitely, because you never know with injuries or how games will go with stats, but I think it's likely. Just with the way I think Carolina's passing game is going to be this year, I think it's likely.
Interesting
that they do that. And also wanted to give a shout out to Nana's Porch. You guys know Nana's Porch?
I do not. Fill us in on that.
From the chat box. I'm trying to buy time here so I can pull up the text that he sent me. Okay, so North Carolina Specialty Foods Contest. Now, he's located in Concord, so he competes in North Carolina.
It's a big deal.
This is huge. First place, meat. Smoked jalapeno.
Way to go, Chris.
And second place for meat and cheese, original.
Not to mention they have the best pimento cheese known to man.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. I'm an idiot. Meat and cheese together. Okay, so he won first and second place for meat and cheese combined.
Dude.
Like, right, that's a category. I'm an idiot. So he swept the top two.
Yeah.
First one was smoked jalapeno. Second was original. Regardless, Chris, congratulations, buddy. As Coach O said, it's award winning. It'll melt in your mouth. And as we had in another commercial, the people have spoken. Nana's Porch got voted at best in Charlotte area food truck, and we love you, man, and can't wait for the tailgate this weekend. You've helped us out so much on the show and with our events and stuff. Hope to see Nat's hoping to catch up with your lovely wife. She really got a kick out of meeting her in Charleston. Thanks from the bottom of our hearts, and congratulations. There's probably not a more deserving individual out there with as hard as you work and as good as your food is. And please bring Jamie some pimento cheese, because I ate the whole thing last time, and I ate it all, Eddie. I ate Boardwalk. I ate Park Place. I ate this, I ate the whole thing last time. So please bring Jamie.
I'll never forget when you got in the Uber to leave. I went and looked in the fridge and I thought, damn,
it's gone.
He ate all the pimento cheese. I swore I had another thing of it in here, but I guess I did. Carrie was like, well, how do we get more? I was like, it's going to be a while. Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
But yeah, I've already talked to Chris. We had a long talk last week. I've got plans. So if any of you think you're just going to ease on into the pregame tailgate next week and snake me out of my pimento cheese, I got bad news for you. I'll hit you over the head with a golf club before that happens. I don't care who you are and how much money you donate to anything. Take my freaking pimento cheese, you're going to have a problem. All right, we're at the end of the hour, and Michael Flint is standing by the newest. Yeah, see, Phil, you've let this get to your head. People, you have to know when the clock is. You can't just keep reading comments about how beloved you are. And let me tell you about message boards. They love you until they don't. You know?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They love you until they don't.
I'm aware.
Because
I'm surprised there hasn't been any shade thrown yet.
Yeah. You know?
No shade.
As
I was caught up in live tweeting is what it was. See, this is like, live tweeting got me on that end of the hour break. That's all right. Michael Flint popped in and he just left again. So typical Wando, dropping the phone, falling off.
You don't ever know you just don't know with Mike, man. You just don't know. I got a feeling Mike and I will have a late night conversation. My wife is out of town for the weekend, and so I'll put the kids in bed, and then we'll call each other and talk about everything we talked about today, and then everything we'll talk about again next Friday. It's part of life, It's what you do. All right, we have got to run. We are teed up by Traveling Country Club. I just got invited to a golf tournament yesterday, as a matter of fact. Speaking of golf, I can't wait to play in it coming up in October. If you want to play golf, there's literally no better golf club than one that has 45 courses in it, from the mountains to the beach. Yeah. I mean, it is like so worth it. If you don't want to spend money every month to be a part of the club, I don't know, maybe shave off a couple of fast food meals. As expensive as everything's gotten. There you go. It is awesome. TravelingCountryClub.com, Gamecock owned and operated by Michael Manus, former golfer at Carolina. Former wide receiver at Carolina is up next. Wando's World here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Nana's Porch, nanasporch.com. At Nana's Porch, they cater weddings, parties, and all kinds of special events. Their meals are served buffet style. In seconds, they're encouraged. Plus, they can bring their mobile food unit to bring on-site and serve your guests as a unique alternative for your catering needs. Inquire about rentals as well. nanasporch.com. Find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. 336-259-7550.
If you're on Medicare currently or approaching eligibility, it's time to enroll in a Medicare plan that meets your needs. Palmetto Medicare is here to help you through the process. Palmetto Medicare's owner, Brian Spencer, and his team of experts are here to assist you. Learn about the benefits and enroll in a plan that will cover as many of your medical costs as possible. Some of the advantages of Medicare health plans may include variety of plan choices, increased benefits, lower premiums, and more. Give Palmetto Medicare a call to discuss your insurance and help get the exact coverage for your needs today.
He's back. What did Corey say, Mike? Back like cook crack. Wando's World here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Painted garnet and black by a couple of painters. Let me paint something.com. Since you last saw him, his hair is longer. He is fatter, and he is fired up and ready to go for South Carolina football. Mike, but before we get there, first of all, hope you had a good time out with your family last week on the beach. You were at the beach, right? Did you have to wear, did they make you wear long sleeves out there since you're so white?
You know it. I reflect the sun.
Hey, we don't need anybody drowning out here, guys. Hey, Jim, put a shirt on. You're scaring all the chicks away. One of the greatest American Pie lines of all time. So I figure I'll probably call you tonight around 10. But, Mike, it's 7:30 tonight. Are you going to the game? Are you going to the Wando game?
I'm going to try to make it. I'm going to try to.
I can't go, man. I got Carrie's gone, so I'm going to watch it on TV. But they owe those daggum Bengals. You know? Come on, Wando. Beckham is playing on your home field. It's a home game for them. There's no excuses. Go out and play like a champion. So, I mean, I don't know who has to give the pregame speech. Maybe ask Mr. Wilson if you can get out there on the field and crush some skulls. But this is insane. They can't be losing to the Beckham Bengals, man.
Oh, no. It's going to be a good one. I watched last year. It was a tight one, but yeah.
Well, we were sitting together last year for that game.
Yeah, it was a tough one. That was a tough one.
Mike, JC informed us earlier that he either is or knows somebody who is an odds maker for high school football. So, JC, what is the line on the Wando game tonight?
I guess who?
Beckham.
Who the hell is Beckham? Is that a new school?
It doesn't matter. What's the line, JC?
Wando minus 21.
21.
Bradford,
Oh,
Bradford, Bradford, Flint, Bradford.
Mike, they ain't covering
Warriors.
21 though. They're not covering 21.
Wando.
Bubba says it's only 6.5.
Yeah,
What's the over under, JC?
35 and a half.
35 and a half.
They're favored by 21. Is
I think they'll get up like
serious
they're going to get up 31 to nothing at halftime and run the ball.
I hope you're right.
All right, Bradford versus God in golf. Wando, Bradford. You see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
I'm creating a Chicago Superfans for the Wando Warriors. Or Trey, Flint. Flint versus God in lacrosse.
Hey, hey, Mike, I'm gonna text Book, tell him JC's got the Warriors at 21. They're getting 21 points here.
Yeah.
So let Book know we've got odds on the game tonight when you see him, if you see him out there.
That'll work. Yeah. Yep.
All right, Coach. Sorry about that. Sorry, we're betting. I'm betting on you to win, just not to cover the 21.
Taking the money line on the one.
Game. That's a tough line there, JC. Can't you come in at 3?
It is a home game.
I'll take the. Yeah, but Beckham last year beat him. It was a devastating night.
I've never even heard of Beckham. I mean,
it was 8-6.
I know
it was a horrible football game.
It looked like they're a lacrosse school. How'd you lose to a lacrosse school?
I used to know
Beckham, when Wando moved, JC, I was the last class at the old Wando, and they moved out to North Mount Pleasant, and then that turned into, it was a cross, right, Michael? Didn't they have the elementary and middle schools in there for a little bit while they were redoing those?
Yeah.
And then they rebuilt that and named it after Miss Beckham, who was our principal, who was the sweetest lady of all time. And so it's in the same spot that the old Wando used to be. So now Mount Pleasant has 2 high schools because we don't acknowledge Oceanside as a high school. So you've got Beckham and you've got.
So it's a rivalry, kind of.
It's a Mount Pleasant, because back in the day you had high flying, highly recruited quarterbacks like Michael Flint at Wando, and the rivals then were James Island, Stratford, Somerville. Y'all didn't play BE every year, did you? Berkeley.
No. Those are the schools I'm familiar with. So Beckham is kind of like, okay, in the early 70s in Spartanburg, Dorman was birthed from Spartanburg High School. So
yeah,
it's kind of like now you got a situation like the Cats we had when I was in college. Pepe knocked Bailey up, and Bailey gave birth to Sputnik, and then we had Pepe and Sputnik. And so now you gave birth, and so now you got Beckham and Wando there. So that's no wonder the damn game's 8-6, because quite frankly, joking aside, not the strongest school for football there, the Warriors.
Well, and there's no excuse for it not to be either, because there's
so not the best, and so now you're going to divide the talent base even more.
Correct.
Hell, why don't we all just go to Boiling Springs next and build a new high school up there, and doom them to even more failure than they've already had ever since that school came into existence? Which is, I wake up every day and chuckle at the fact 2 of the best quarterbacks in the history of South Carolina football, the late great Phil Petty and Dylan Thompson, both went to Boiling Springs High School.
Boiling Springs, yeah.
In Spartanburg County, do you know? I mean, they're worse than Landrum. Chesney is up there as a little 2A school up in that area. They're worse than Chesney.
Which, by the way, just kind of a little historical tidbit here. They did not name that high school after Kenny.
No, it's spelled differently. It's a Native American Chesney. It's Chesadee.
I'm aware.
It's Chesadee.
Wando is named after the Native Americans of the Low Country. So here we go, Mike. Go Warriors. I'm going to go with they get revenge tonight. It's going to be a strange score again. So let's go with 18 to 11. 18 to 11.
Ooh, that's a strange one.
Yeah, well, you got a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal for the Bengals. All right, so we're going to go with 18-11. Wando wins. They get off to a 1-0 start. Lance, Michael will not be in Charlotte next week, but he will be in Columbia. And so if you want an autograph, you want him to sign your baby or something like that, let us know, and we'll get him over to you. And what is it, Mike? Is it still $50 per letter? And you spell out Michael, right? So
yeah,
50,
I just don't
MICH.
I just don't want to devalue anything.
What's it's name, image, and likeness? You want me to sign your baby? That's fine, but it's going to cost you about $750.
Hey,
right.
I just don't want to devalue it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mike. South Carolina, a week from today, will be doing their final walkthrough in Charlotte before they kick off against the Tar Heels. And as of now, all reports are pretty good. And it seems like they're going to be pretty healthy going into the game as well, expecting everybody for the most part to play. Could be maybe a little bit of a wait and see on Nick Harbor. But outside of that, they feel really good about where they are on both sides of the ball, defense, offense. Juice Wells that continues to increase that he's going to get into the game. It has been widely reported, starting with the guy on the screen here, Schubert, that it seems at this point, if you had to roll out a starting offensive line, it would be 3 transfers. This is the third time I've said this week, Mike. I just want to see the reaction on your face because it is so interesting when you actually bring the details into the conversation. If I would have told you the day after they got beat by Notre Dame that next year offensive line issues, any of them would maybe be solved, or even if I didn't word it that way and just said, hey, I can tell you right now, next year's offensive line is going to have a starter at left tackle, who is a walk-on from transfer from Charlotte, a starter at left guard from Yale, and a starter at right tackle who transferred in from Western Illinois, who hadn't won a game in 2 years. You'd probably go, oh, no, man, we're in trouble. But this group seems to be coming together, Mike. I'm giving a little bit of a background there on what we're hearing because I asked you this question on the offensive side of the football first. What is your primary concern coming out of camp going into the first game of the season?
I think the main concern, like you just said, I think the interior of the line is, I think there's a lot of experience. I think the comfort level is there when you have, the transfer from Yale, and with the experience that he brings. I think with the toughness and mentality that you see, and you hear everything about the leadership that he brings to the room, and that's kind of his line almost. It feels like those are his guys. Like he's kind of the quarterback of that offensive line that everybody has that respect for. And so the interior of the line, I think, doesn't really worry me as much as the inexperience on the edge. And coming from those other places, the speed of the game is a lot different. It takes a lot of experience. As you can see, playing offensive line, you need that experience. You need those reps. And, it's a little bit surprising, that the 2 transfers starting on the edge. But I think you see the hard work they've put in since they've been here. I think Fugard, you see how he's kind of transformed himself since he's gotten here, how hard he's worked. The one thing I worry about is the footwork with those guys on the edge, because these defensive ends in the SEC are a lot different than a lot of these other places with the power, the speed, the quickness. And so a lot of those one-on-one matchups, that's really the one thing I'm looking for in that, in this game against North Carolina, is how we do with those one-on-one matchups with those defensive ends, and, how tough those guys are, and, and how they get in their drops, because it's different. It's different. And when you're on an island out there at tackle, whether it be left tackle or right tackle, one breakdown is the difference in a sack, a fumble, whatever it could be. And you could have guys running wide open downfield, but if you can't protect the quarterback, then you're going to have problems. And another thing, I'm kind of interested in looking to see how we do it is from a protection standpoint is, do we use the tight end? Do we use the running back? Do we keep those guys in to help those tackles in those one-on-one situations? Or, do we trust them more to be able to win those battles, to be able to get the tight end into a route, to be able to get the running back out of the backfield and create mismatches down, create mismatches with the carry-on joiner in the flat, or however it may be, rather than having to use those guys in pass protection. Now, there's going to be times that those guys have to be used because of blitzes and stunts and other things that where they have to stay in for pass protection. But I think that's one thing I'll be looking for is the guys on the outside, those tackles. And, the interior I'm comfortable with because there's a lot of experience and there's a lot of games played between those interior three guys. But it's that edge that I think, I'll be watching for and how they handle those one-on-one matchups. And also how, Coach Loggins looks to kind of game plan early on to give those guys confidence with quick game and not taking a whole lot of deep shots, but to be able to kind of game plan around those guys, to be able to run some quick stuff and see how those guys handle it, based on that first quarter. Because, the adrenaline's running. That first game of the year, the first quarter, playing in an NFL stadium, the adrenaline's going to be running for everybody. And it's, the most important thing is surviving those first couple of series, whether it be offensively and defensively, and really eliminate mistakes and, guys playing almost too fast and getting themselves out of position. And so, I think the first 2 or 3 series and that really the first quarter alone is going to be critical, in seeing how the rest of this game unfolds.
Yeah, I think that you're onto something there, Mike. And, it's when you've got some stuff on the offensive side of the football that I think collectively is at the end of the year, as long as everybody for the people are going to get hurt. I know that, but like for the large majority of this group, as long as they stay mainly healthy, I think they have a chance to be really, really special. We even had somebody ask us earlier our thoughts on whether Spencer Rattler could break the single season passing record set by Dylan Thompson back in 2014, as JC mentioned a moment ago, some of the pride of Bowling Springs, South Carolina. But though, Mike, to your point there, up front, you have, maybe with the exception of Ja'Kai Moore, Vershawn, of course, has started a bunch of football games at Carolina, but you're going to have 5 new guys in 5 new places. And overall, you're going to have, 3 or 4 new guys on the offensive line starting in general. You have a guy who's converted, and they really like him. Dakereon Joyner has had an outstanding camp. He's ready. But we know that he's new there, and we know that the depth behind him is also new to that room outside of Juju. So Rattler is, he's your pillar. The wide receiver group, the tight end group, those guys are fine. But it just seems like it could take a little bit of time to get the backfield and your front kind of all clicking and meshing together. I think play calling is going to be such an important thing here in the first game, the first couple of games, to try to get this group to really gel. And on top of that, Mike, you heard Dowell the other day, not to steal your segment here, just talking over everybody, but Dowell talked about all of the responsibilities he's just handed off to Spencer Rattler. And so there's a difference in your quarterback having that responsibility and knowing the offense and not knowing the offense. I think at this point in time, though, from what we understand, he knows it pretty darn well.
Yeah, and that's been really, really nice to see, and the confidence that's really been portrayed in Spencer, and being able to kind of not necessarily hand the keys over, but to allow him to get up to the line of scrimmage, read a defense, and make a check based on game prep and based on film and based on all the work that goes in Monday through Friday, whether it be in meeting rooms or on the practice field. There's checks that he's going to be able to make that they've gone through, and it's being able to come up to the line of scrimmage and have an understanding of what you're looking at defensively to be able to make those right checks. And I think with him having that understanding of defenses, of protections, of blocking schemes, things like that, he's able to kind of help the running backs as well when it comes to pass protection, because that's one of the biggest things for a running back that really people don't realize is how well do they pass protect. And that's the difference in a lot of these young guys and guys in general being able to play a lot more than they do is really understanding pass protection. And you see that's a struggle for a lot of guys that make it to the NFL. And you can be really good as a running back, and once the ball's in your hands. But if you limit yourself and you're not able to be effective in pass protection, it really handcuffs it handcuffs you, and it handcuffs the team as well. So having Spencer back there, being able to help those guys navigate what their responsibility is based on different looks is really, really critical. And being able to help that offensive line in tight end, whatever it may be, in different checks, based on what you see from a front seven standpoint or a coverage standpoint.
Defensive
Does
side,
giving Rattler, does giving Rattler the ability to make those changes, Michael, kind of hint at a comfort level across the rest of the offense with how Loggins is running things, or at least what he's seeing? Like, that's what I kind of inferred from it, is like, well, we're overly concerned, maybe we're overly concerned with the O-line and some of the other positions, because if he's allowing Spencer that flexibility, to me, it seems like the other position groups kind of have a level of comfort with what he's trying to do and an understanding of how to do it better than we might, be thinking.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think, and a lot of times during game prep, when you go into a game and you're watching film and you kind of develop, if you're in a run, if you're in a run and they're, lined up a certain way, and you see an opportunity to throw the ball, there's checks you can make, or you check the different runs. But a lot of times when you go through game prep, you find weaknesses in defenses, whether it be at linebacker and a mismatch against potentially a running back or a tight end, or you look at the secondary and you see a weakness, more of a weakness, and you really try to attack that. And so when you make different checks out of certain plays, you check into a different play, there's usually two or three, usually a handful of plays. I'll just say a handful. It's not the whole playbook. It's really, a handful of plays that you like that week that that you have the opportunity to check into. So when you're up to the line of scrimmage and you see something, there's limitations on exactly what you can do as far as it comes to a check. And it's really not the whole playbook that's open, but it's specific plays that you like against certain coverages, or different plays you like against a certain front that you have the ability to check to. So it really limits what you can do, but it also helps you make a quick decision up there on the line of scrimmage. And what you prep for is really the weaknesses and what you see of that defense and where those weaknesses are, whether it be, player specific or schematically on where you attack that week versus the next week.
What do you think about the Carry-On Joyner, Mike?
I think, you've got a guy who's been here a long time. He's dedicated. He's been dedicated teammate. He's been an unbelievable teammate. He's never really wavered in anything, and he works his tail off. And when you find a guy like that, it's tough to find a guy that's kind of been through what he has, the different position changes, kind of everything since he's been here, and a guy who's been committed to the program is phenomenal. And I think a lot of good things are going to happen this year. And I think a lot of it based on work ethic and how he's bulked up his body, being able to take on the physicality piece of it. And also just the amount of, I say it again, the amount of work that he's put in has been unbelievable. Now there's going to be some challenge. He's going to have some of those learning curves that happen.
What are those?
Missing a block. But
okay, yeah.
I think the amount of time, and effort that he's put into playing running back is going to be really huge for this team. And, you hate to put too much on him because, Juju McDowell is one heck of a running back as well. And he may not be as big and as much of a between the tackles kind of guy, but he's a guy that needs to touch the ball. And you see what he's done when the ball is in his hands, especially in space. He's electric, and he can take a 5 to 10 yard play and turn it into a 50+ yard play, in one or two moves. So, I think we have a very good dynamic in that room of guys that are good, but I think starting with the Carry-On and the leadership that he brings is crucial.
I hope, speaking of Juju, guys, I hope they didn't pull out that wing T 4th down play that they threw at Clemson. That ball thrown by Rattler was a beauty. And old Juju, I was messing with him when we were all there together, Mike, when we were at the NIL event. I told him, I said, you didn't have one more yard in you? You couldn't get one more yard? He's like, man, that guy was fast. I was like, I mean, you're pretty fast too. 1 yard, and he doesn't throw a pick in the end zone. Juju, come on, man.
Hey, when you're sprinting that far, that long, that monkey jumps on your back a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. To carry on, Mike, I think one of the things that I'm anxious to see early on, not that I'm an expert at coaching running backs because I'm not, but when he gets that opportunity to hit the hole, does he? Because we know that certainly, and you're going to see a lot of this from DJ Braswell. They think the world of this kid. He's good. And as he continues to learn, he's going to get more reps. My prediction is as the season goes along, DJ Braswell is going to end up getting a lot of reps, as a matter of fact. But Mike, if you can kind of take this a little bit deeper rather than the surface conversation I can have about it, seeing the hole and hitting the hole, it's hard to do. And it does take you, especially at this level, when you are either transitioned to running back or you've just never been there before, it takes your brain just a little bit to figure it out. And so I'm anticipating that Joyner's going to probably have a pretty good game next week. We know he's going to have a heck of a role in it. But I just wonder what it'll look like in the first quarter or the second quarter versus what it'll look like in the third or fourth for him as he kind of gets his feet wet.
Yeah, vision is such a huge part of playing running back, and being able to see the field and really having a feel for what's going on up front, knowing where the cutback lane is, knowing where the hole is going to be, having patience, or knowing whether to hit it or be patient and let it open up for you. And then once you see that hole opening, to go and not being too, there is something about not being too aggressive. So a lot of these zone runs, you really have to be patient and see the hole open up. And I think as you get into as we get into the season and he gets more experience, seeing how that offensive line blocks, seeing how the hole opens, and having that patience, but also having that burst as well is going to be big. But vision, I think, is one of really the most important things, and being able to see the field and being able to see the cutback lanes, kind of out of the peripheral, and not just having that tunnel vision of looking to exactly where you think you're going to go, but you got to be able to have vision and see those cutback lanes and see the field better. And a lot of that comes down to feel. And I think once he gets more comfortable with that, he's going to see the field a whole lot better. And, I think even now, as you get into and get those live reps, you get those game reps in front of, 80,000 plus fans against a different colored jersey across from you, scrimmaging and being in practice is one thing, but when those lights come on and there's a different colored jersey across from you, it's a whole different ball game. It's not even close. And so once you get into it and those lights turn on and you start getting those game reps, you really start to feel it a lot more. And that's where those practice reps and everything you've done in the spring and in the summer really comes into play and can help expedite kind of how he's feeling in that game environment, and not take as long to get that comfort level and really see in the field clearer, in game 2 or 3 than you did in game 1 or the first quarter versus the third or fourth quarter. So I think a lot of that comes down to feel. But I think one of the most important, things is going to be vision and patience, and really being able to see those cutback lanes and then hit the hole hard. Hit the hole hard, explode, one move and get upfield. Don't try to dance around too much. Hit the hole and go. And I think, we've seen that before with him playing quarterback, and not trying to dance too much in the backfield, because once you start to do that, and once you start trying to juke and start to make a whole lot of cuts within that box, that's where you get, loss of yard plays and tackle for loss. It's hit the hole, one move, get what you can, and then you get up to run another one. But anything with positive yardage will take. So I think you'll see him get a lot more comfortable as the series go on, as we get from quarter to quarter in that first game, and then throughout the course of the season.
A couple more minutes, Mike, and then we'll let you go. The flip side of the field here, I would say, JC, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but I would say we know about Drake May, certainly on the offense for North Carolina. Everybody does. The wild card for the game is whether Tez Walker gets cleared or not. But collectively, as an entire group, not just one player, The running back group for North Carolina is probably the best group they have on the whole football team. You're talking about guys who've been around a while. Mario Hampton, Elijah Green, British Brooks, Caleb Hood. I mean, all these guys I feel like have been there forever, dude. Matter of fact, I think most of those guys played against the Gamecocks just a couple of years ago. So Mike, regardless of how good Drake May is, and we all know that he can beat you if he's having a great game. He can beat probably pretty much about anybody. You're gonna have to limit that room. And last year, Carolina, that was their problem on defense. They could not stop the run and rarely could slow it down. 198 yards per game is what they gave up, and that was atrocious. Based on what you've heard and what remains to be seen, of course, that group up front has a tall task. The linebackers are better, they're deeper, they're bigger, and they're stronger. And so your thoughts on that group, because they've got a challenge next week to keep North Carolina's run game in check. I think there is a thought, though, if you can make this a one-dimensional game, regardless of the fact that it's Drake May, that plays right into the Gamecocks' hands.
Yeah, either way. But I think it starts up front, with those front four guys and really being able to eat up blocks and take up blocks. And I think we got the guys that can do that. And I think a lot of those extra yards really comes from that second level in those in those linebackers. And I think we have, I think we've improved at that level. I think Stone Blanton's gotten a lot better. Being able to engage in blocks and then shed a block, that's huge. And I think one thing that we can improve on this year, better gap control, and being able not getting blocked out of your gap or over pursuing. And a lot of that simply comes down to fundamentals and footwork. But I think the talent that we do have there is better than what we had last year. I think we got more, we got the experience. I think with the improvements of Debo Williams, Stone Blanton, I think Mo Kaba coming back is absolutely huge. I think that guy is a future NFL draft pick if he stays healthy, similar to a Ernest Jones. And I think if he can stay healthy, that's going to be critical, I think, for the success of that group. And that's where I think a lot of those extra yardage, came from, is that second level. But if those front guys can eat up blocks and really get good push on the line of scrimmage, I think that's going to be extremely helpful. And, from, a pass protection standpoint, I think, if we can collapse the pocket and really keep Drake May guessing, and have him kind of flustered and getting a little bit of pressure on him, I think can change the course of the game. But, we say it every week, but, I think games are won in the trenches and at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, not just on one side or the other, especially in the SEC. And you look back at the years that we were really, really good. We were dang good on the lines of scrimmage. And I think with the guys that we brought in, I think the dynamic that we have, especially on the edge and being able to put pressure on the quarterback, is going to be big. But those interior guys are critical, kind of in stopping that run, eating blocks, allowing those linebackers to stay free or more free than they would be, and not letting those offensive linemen get to the second level. Once those offensive linemen get to the second level, they engage on the linebacker. It makes it that more. It makes it more challenging, and allowing those bigger 5+ yard runs that really set you up for second and short, second medium, second and short, where the playbook's still wide open. And it keeps it keeps Coach White kind of on his heels, where if you can have success on first down and force North Carolina into, second and long type situations, I think that's going to play into the hands of the Gamecocks, from a defensive standpoint. But I like the guys we got. I like the guys coming back. Jordan Strawn, JT Gear, I think is going to be a big piece. And I like the guys that we have up front. I think Huntley, Tonka Hemingway, those guys are going to be huge. And I just, the versatility that Tonka Hemingway brings is going to allow, Coach White a lot more flexibility up front to do different things from, schematically and from what they typically do with that 4-2-5, and to be able to move guys around, I think it's going to be big. But, it all starts up front, and, being able to make North Carolina more one-dimensional, I think really plays into our favor.
Dude, how about the secondary, man? I love this group for Carolina.
It's tough. It's physical.
You know, let me reword this because you played high school football in this state. JC points this out all the time. The 4 starters here: Sumter, Woodruff, Spring Valley, Irmo.
It's nice to see.
Says something, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it say something like you got that pride? I mean, they're hey, by the way, they're pretty freaking good players.
They just replaced 2 guys from Blythewood and Hemingway. So
I tell you, I love the secondary. And when you have guys like that, it allows you to get a whole lot more creative in what you do with those front 7, those front 6 or those, including the nickel 7 guys, on how you decide to blitz or stunt, different types of things you do up front to try to cause chaos and confusion within the offensive line. Having those kinds of guys in that secondary allows for defensive coaches to get a whole lot more creative in what they're doing, because when you can kind of man up with against some of these offenses, you can get a whole lot more creative and really try to create more confusion up front. And all it takes is a couple of bad plays, create a couple of turnovers in that, and it flips the course in the dynamic of the game.
All right, Mike, it's almost here, man. We're so close. Our weekend 10 o'clock conversations. You think we should lump Mad Dog and JC in on these? Like when can't we connect 4 phone calls? Can we
do something like that.
Every time Michael pours, I pour. Like, I guess I'm going to go to bed, and I hear, oh, I think I'll make another. And we solve all the problems of Gamecock football. I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
I believe Furman game's going to be the Furman game tailgate's going to be. Let's just say I said earlier, I'm looking forward to being at the condos.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't tell them which ones.
No, I will not give out a location. So
MICHAEL. That's 7 times 350 plus 5 times 50. So $600 for you to sign a baby. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Hey, it's going to be fun.
Well worth the investment.
What was I going to say? All right, so Darius,
give him a lock of your hair.
Is C.E. Murray High School not in Hemingway? Is that someplace else? Greeleyville. It's in Greeleyville. I'm sorry, I said Rush was from Hemingway. I apologize. I was naming hometowns and not cities because Cam Smith was not Blythewood High. It was Westwood and Blythewood, which I think is another one of those birthed high schools. I have another correction too. Dorman apparently was created when they closed Roebuck High School.
Oh.
But look, it still was birthed out of Spartanburg because Dorman for a long time was where Westgate Mall is in Spartanburg. And now, of course, it's back to its roots in the big city of Roebuck.
Okay.
But just wanted to be clear that I'm from the Burg, and if I don't get my Burg
screwed it up.
If my Burg history is incorrect, what kind of credibility do I have for real?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I think it's pretty pathetic. My dad was the last graduating class of Moultrie High School, and then that became Wando, and then I was the last graduating class of the old Wando.
I was,
There's a little nugget for you, Michael. Well, we'll just save that for another day. The legend. Hey man, I know we kept you for a long time, but we had to make up for it because last week you were out there blinding people on the beach, and we didn't get to talk to you, so we figured we'd extend it a little bit today. But next week we'll actually be able to preview the ball game and pull those Warriors through tonight. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's now the football season's here. It's a good time of the year.
Yeah, and wait a second. Did MJ or Ellison just have a birthday? Wasn't one of them just recently?
Ellison.
I knew it was in mid-August.
She picked out a giant water slide. I had to limb the tree. It was about 24 feet in the air. It's massive. It's so much fun.
She's a Flint.
It's called Twin Falls.
That's what they do.
Great.
Oh man, that is awesome. Well, give her a hug for me.
Sure.
I'll holler at you a little bit later, about 9 hours.
Hey, sounds good, fellas. I enjoyed it as always.
See you, dude.
You're the man, dude.
Man. Michael Flint, former wide receiver. It would have been scholarship quarterback at South Carolina if it not for 2 broken collarbones. Still sucks to even think about all that. All right, it is 12:41, right? Yep, 12:41. We are live in the Sinorama studios. We need to hit a timeout. We're going to do that. Don't go anywhere, man. You got nothing else to do except enjoy your Friday with Mad Dog, Schubert, and myself. We'll come back and begin to wind it down here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does the Wando Company, where they can build your dream home starting as low as $160 per square foot. If you live in the Carolinas, Georgia, or Tennessee, their turnkey process takes just 4 to 6 months on average and can be custom designed by size and details. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com. The Wando Company, Gamecock, owned and operated.
Welcome to TravelingCountryClub.com, your modern golf club experience. Hey folks, this is Michael Manus, former Gamecock golfer, inviting you to play more golf with a membership to TravelingCountryClub.com. With over 40 courses across the Carolinas, our membership provides you with an affordable way to enjoy a club-like golf experience. From the mountains to the coast, we offer golf courses that will challenge all types of golfers, no matter your handicap level or level of play. Plus, we offer unique membership benefits not seen anywhere else as part of Traveling Country Club. Tee it up with Traveling Country Club, TravelingCountryClub.com, TravelingCountryClub.com, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hey everybody, this is Mo Copper from Carolina Football. The show is painted garnet black every day by a couple of painters. Go to letmepaintsomething.com to check them out. Go Cox.
10% off for military repeat customers or mention the show. Interior, exterior painting, fencing, cabinet staining, concrete painting, popcorn ceiling removal, and more. 803-522-6832. LetMePaintSomething.com. Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington. Half-hour, hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer. Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. Magnum, Velotric, Aventon bikes, and more. And they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle help you handle the southern heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available all ages and sizes. ElectricBikesCharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Bikes are Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Bikes of Charleston!
Get him, Mad Dog.
Yeah. Go hard into the weekend.
Get him, Mad Dog. Get him, Mad Dog. 76. You call me anytime, brother. We'll put you in touch with somebody you'll like a lot more than us. Alicia Fields with the Barn Doco. She is unbelievable person, and I'm not sure 76 if you're I don't know if you're coming to the game next week, but she'll be there. She's going to come hang out with us. So if you want to build a barn dominium, I can tell you you will be in good hands. That's not just radio speak. We don't partner with people that aren't worth a damn. They are really, really good. Hey, by the way, so tomorrow the midshipmen and the Irish, of course, are playing in Ireland, right? Did you know, Mad Dog and Schubert, that is not the only American football game being played in Dublin
this year or at that time?
Right now? No, I mean this weekend.
All right. You got my attention.
There's one being played right now.
What?
As we speak.
Right now. And it has a connection to the University of South Carolina.
Really?
Direct connection. The Red Raiders of the Baylor School in Chattanooga, Tennessee, led by the wonderful Eric Kimmery.
Eric he was talking about that the other day. Yeah.
They're playing right now in Dublin. They're playing Seton Hall Prep, and currently, for an update from Dublin, Ireland, where the Fighting Eric Kimmerys are playing, they are whipping Seton Hall Prep. There's a weather delay with 2:38 to go in the third quarter. Baylor leads 30-7. So to my man EK, if you happen to be scrolling Twitter over there in Dublin, you're the man. You know we love you and we're proud of you. And you take those Seton Haulers and you just kick some ass, man. Keep doing what you're doing. One more quarter. Score 60. Go Baylor.
Kiss the Barney Stone for me too.
Yeah. Well, by the way, is led by Vanderbilt quarterback commitment Whit Muschamp.
Yeah, Whit's a good player.
He is a good player.
Whit's gonna be really good. So, Bruin wants the latest on Daniel Hill, of course, 4-star running back that held off on his commitment. Okay, so here's the thing: you got to overcome Dad. Dad wants him at Alabama. Dad wants him to go to Alabama and play linebacker. South Carolina wants him at South Carolina to play running back. I think it could go either way. We'll see what happens. If it were a running back only, and both schools want him as a running back, but apparently that's changed at Bama. And I think that's if they want him on their roster, that's a smart move to make because they know they have a dad in their corner. That it's easy to overcome because they're going to have 2 freshman running backs this year that are going to probably be talked about quite a bit. So where are you going to go in there and play? Running backs want the ball and want to get to the NFL quickly, right? But as a linebacker, that takes the arrow out of the quiver, so to speak, for South Carolina. I know it's easy to get mad at parents then when they don't want a kid to go to your school. However, you have to understand this guy grew up in Mississippi. He did not get the opportunity to go to Alabama. Played at Mississippi State. I understand that, for someone that's a parent that's not from our state. And then you think about the fact that Alabama's an hour and a half up the road and South Carolina's how far? Half a day. It's halfway across the country, really.
Yeah.
I get it. At some point at running back, you got to start winning these battles. I mean, I don't think being upset with the parent or the kid is healthy, or really being upset with anyone. But I'll just say, at some point, you got to start winning some battles at this position. Bottom line, I mean, you're kind of piecing it together this year, but you needed, and I like the Fuller kid from Georgia quite a bit, but you start getting some guys.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good enough to finish second for every good running back that you're in on. You run into situations like that. I think Will Muschamp had that kind of situation at linebacker at Carolina. They finished second on a lot of good linebackers. And you can't do that. You got to go get, and look, if you can't get the ones you're recruiting, which, if I'm going to Mississippi halfway across and trying to beat Alabama on a kid, I am probably going to have some backup plans and not rely on the portal. But I mean, look, this would be 0 for 2 in the portal, 0 for 2 on their top 2 high school guys. Number 3 was Fuller. So they got him. So it's like 1 for whatever. That's not a good percentage. You've got some good running backs coming through the state here pretty soon. That'll help, but I'm one that I'm not going to sit there and bash coaches or anything like that based on getting a guy or not getting a guy. But you look at the body of work, and I'm not saying bash anybody. I'm just saying this has to improve. Okay, this has to improve. I don't care what coach does it, who does it, how they get here. But running back recruiting has to improve, and this is another guy you led right up to the end on. And unlike the other situations, this is not an NIL situation at all. So there you go.
Well, we'll see. I guess he's planning to take some visits this fall to both Alabama and South Carolina. So we will. Is there any chance, by the way, just out of curiosity, if he's planning to take visits, any chance that who knows, maybe Ole Miss or Mississippi State, Auburn, somebody like that sneaks in and says, "Hey, why don't you come give us a peek?"
Hale has a theory that maybe they're kind of keeping the seat warm for the Mississippi schools, but Mississippi State, from what their insider Steve Roberts said, was not kind of lukewarm on him as a player. I don't know why. Seems to me like App State offense back like this would be lethal. Ole Miss has not done much with him at all, so I don't know what the situation is there. But although his dad did go to Mississippi State, so maybe they're trying to avoid the legacy turn down or whatever at Ole Miss. But I do think that I do think Carolina's still in it. I think they can still get him. I'm just my position on this is hurry up, guys. Come on, let's get it going. You don't want to ever get too high or too low with recruiting, and I'm not getting low. I'm just saying there's a bottom line here. The bottom line here is South Carolina has to start getting more backs, whether that's Daniel Hill or other. You got to start getting some more backs in here because you got to be able to run the ball in the Southeastern Conference. Period.
Yep. Maybe going out and winning a couple of games early on will impact that. Somebody asked earlier something like, what will the buzz be if South Carolina starts 3-0? I can tell you what the buzz will be. The buzz will be, and they'll be in the top 10. That'll be the buzz. You get a neutral site win against the top 20 team. You beat Furman, and then you go on the road and take down number 1 Georgia. Yeah, you're in the top 10, and the buzz is pretty high. And you come home against Mississippi State, and all eyes are on you. And if they do something like that, it's because of a guy named Spencer. That's what it's because. JC, that was an interesting question, by the way, earlier. Can he break that record, which is, what is it, 35, 64?
35, 44, 64. 35, 64.
30.
That's a shade under 300 a game. That's probably 293 times 36. Yeah, so probably about 297 yards per game. So 300 yards a game. 300 yards a game would get you to 3,600 yards.
Yeah, I think it could be done.
Be interesting.
I mean,
for over 1,000 in the final 3 games last season.
Yeah, Rattler's going to have some big passing games this year.
Well, I think the number for him obviously is turnovers. If he's limiting turnovers, everything else is fine. Everything's going fine. His completion percentage is going to be high. He's going to throw for yards. We all know that. If he is not turning the football over, you can almost bet whatever penny you feel like betting that the rest of the stats and the stat line for Spencer Rattler are really good. If he's comes out and after, let's say after 12 quarters, to stick with that model or that example, 3 games, guys, if he's got, I don't know, 3 or 4 interceptions, you're probably wondering, is he going to settle down? What is there an issue here? But my gut tells me he's going to probably be pretty good. And depending on what those picks look like. I mean, sometimes other guy just makes a great play. I mean, that happens. Sometimes you're just hauling one up there at the end of the half. You're already up 24-6, and you just heave one up into the end zone, and it gets picked off, just trying to steal a touchdown like Alshon did in the bowl game, about 11 or 12 years ago off the arm of Connor Shaw. Sometimes that happens, right? But if it's 3 or 4 picks after 2 or 3 games of just poor mistakes, that's when you're probably going to begin to be concerned just a little bit. But nonetheless, we will be able to talk much more about that next week, because the next time that we all come on the air will be game week 2023 for South Carolina football, and we'll all be preparing to make the trip to Charlotte, North Carolina. And next week on our program, of course, will be filled with all the guys we've had. Plus, we will be rolling out a couple of things we think you will all really begin to get the juices flowing with here to usher in the Gamecock football season. We've been working on this for a while behind the scenes. I've wanted to pull what is left of my hair out and doing a lot of it.
It's too late for me.
Rather being filled. Yeah. But we can't wait. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Next week, it's game week for the Gamecocks. All right. Good luck to all the high schools tonight in the state of South Carolina and beyond. If you're going to go watch high school football, whoever you pull for, I hope you win, unless you pull for Beckham. I don't hope you win. I hope the Wando Warriors embarrass you and you sneak back home with your tail tucked between those bingo legs. And best of luck to South Carolina State as they are in Atlanta preparing to win the SWAC MEAC Challenge again. That's 7:30 tomorrow night on ABC. Looking forward to that. And is there any game that we need to pick? Notre Dame wins, Vandy wins, right?
South Carolina State wins.
Yes, and we're going with Big Buddy tonight.
Yeah, we established that.
I think Marshawn Lloyd fumbles once against San Jose State.
Oh, okay. All right. Big prediction there, JC, on the fumble.
Hey, Clint Brewster, a friend of mine, says he's heard Marshawn's having really good. Probably a start, so we'll see.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Guy can play, no doubt.
Our friends on Twitter have me talked into picking UMass.
Okay. Go Minutemen. Go Minutemen.
Let's rock and roll.
Thus firmly cementing New Mexico State as the worst team in college football.
The worst team in college football.
Hey, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the Aggies of Las Cruces.
Aggies, all right. It is a home game for them.
Hat tip to the Aggies.
There'll be as many fans there as Vanderbilt fans.
Think about that for a second. Tomorrow night on ABC, you're going to have you're going to have Jackson State and South Carolina State at 7:30, directly competing with, under the same umbrella, the Disney umbrella, New Mexico State and UMass. I'm going to put some cash on this. Way more will be watching South Carolina State and Jackson State. And good for them. Good for them. Buddy and the Bulldogs, they thump them. They 75-3. 75-3 in Atlanta tomorrow night. That's my prediction. Thanks to Michael Flint. As always, thanks to Schubert and Mad Dog. And we really cannot thank all of you. Make sure you check your high school football scores tonight on the Chief Sports app. The Chief High School scoreboard is up. Tell your friends about that app as well. And you're going to be in for some treats next week on our programs. Can't wait. We'll see you then on Inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co. and from the Sinorama Studios.